With week one thankfully in the books, it's time that we look forward to week two and ask ourselves, can we at least do a little bit better? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Believers Talk. My name is Joe, and welcome to this week two pick'em edition of Believers Talk, where we go through every single week two matchup, and I give you my straight up winners and who's going to win against the spread. Again, guys, thank you for joining me on this edition of Believers Talk. My name is Joe. If you are new to this channel, guys, please be sure to hit that subscribe button for continual Buffalo Bills and Buffalo sports news. And of course, we have these weekly videos for you during the regular season every Wednesday at 3 p.m. So make sure after you hit that subscribe button, you hit that notification bell. YouTube will notify you when we put out new content. Also, while you're here, hit that thumbs up button, like this video, and leave a comment. Who do you have winning? Who is your biggest upset this week? And what about these spreads? Do you think these spreads are about right? Or is Vegas just guessing, kind of like we are? I can tell you something. After week one, it definitely looks like all I'm doing is guessing, because it was not a good week for me in these pick'em games. As against the spread, I went an even 8-8. Not a good week, but again, I didn't lose money, didn't make money. We're in the business of making money, so hopefully we can do that starting this week. Against the spread, 8-8. Straight up, I did go a little bit better at 9-7, but you really want to see that in the double digits, right? You don't want to see a 9-7, 8-8 record. You want to see straight up, you can get in the double digits. You want to see against the spread, you want to be above 500, so that means you made a little bit of money. Now, obviously, no preseason games, so really there's nothing to judge off of. I think Vegas does a much better job, obviously, than we do as far as picking these games, picking the spreads, things like that. That's why they get paid to do so, and that's why they always make money. Vegas always wins, but let's see if we can make them losers for just 1 week. And that starts with the Thursday night matchup tomorrow night for the Cincinnati Bengals and the Cleveland Browns. Cincinnati traveling to Cleveland after a tough last-second loss against the Chargers on Sunday. Traveling to Cleveland wasn't a rough loss as far as being close for Cleveland. They got smoked by the Baltimore Ravens. In this one, the Cleveland Browns are actually favored by 6 points, and I'm not sure exactly why they're favored. Now, normally, I would tell you that these Thursday night matchups, I do tend to favor the home team, especially the later in the season we get. Short week, away team obviously has to travel, and not as much rest. Especially if they had a game the previous Sunday, it's going to be rough for them. Now, normally I would give both these teams an advantage going into the next week's game, right? Because they have 10 weeks of rest, or 10 days of rest, I should say. But I do not like away teams on Thursday night matchups. However, this Thursday's a little bit different. First of all, it's week two. Haven't had too much travel in the schedule, right? Haven't had too many hits. You're not as sore. Not sleeping in your own bed isn't as big of a deal. And not only that, for this game, it's very possible they sleep in their own bed. It's a Thursday night game. Cleveland is not all that far, Cleveland's not all that far from Cincinnati, so Cincinnati can make the travel in a day. So maybe Cincinnati stays at home and then travels to Cleveland before the game starts, especially during this season where, there's the pandemic still, not going to get as much time practicing before the game starts on the field anyway. So it's very much a possibility that they still enjoy some home cooking before they play the Cleveland Browns on Thursday night. So I like what Cleveland showed me on Sunday, but I just don't know if they can beat this Cleveland Browns team, who again played really bad in Baltimore, but they still have a lot of talent on this team. And as they said in the post-game press conference, no matter how big the loss was, it still only counts as 0-1, and they're absolutely right. Now, hopefully, they not only say these things, they actually mean them, and they can look past the Week 1 loss and look towards the Cincinnati Bengals, who still have a rookie quarterback, who still did not put up a lot of points against this Chargers defense that's average, I would say. I think that the Bengals can put up more points, but I also think the Cleveland Browns can do a lot better than what we saw on Sunday. Give me Cleveland to win this game, but I don't trust Cleveland to cover a spread to save their life. So give me Cleveland to win this game, but give me the Bengals to cover what I think is a big spread for this one, a 6-point spread. Then we go on to the Sunday 1 o'clock games. We're going to start off with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers playing up against the Carolina Panthers. This will be Tom Brady's first game in Tampa, where he's part of the home team. So you know that he's going to be amped for this game. He was very discouraged by his performance on Sunday against the Saints. Obviously, that game, everyone was looking forward to that game. He did not play as well as he would have hoped. This offense for Tampa Bay did not show out the way he would hope. I expect him to have a comeback in this game. Tom Brady normally does, right? Has a comeback game after a bad one. Obviously, a different team, different scenario. But Bruce Arians knows how to get his quarterbacks to play ball. I think that, as the season wears on, you'll see this Tampa Bay team begin to mesh a little bit more. And Carolina, even though they played it close on Sunday, I'm still not sure if I'm a believer in the Carolina Panthers. Give me Tampa Bay to win this game. 8.5-point spread sounds like a lot. That's because it is. But give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers not only to win this game, but cover an 8.5-point spread. Moving on, you got the Jacksonville Jaguars going to Tennessee, playing the Tennessee Titans. Titans, 9-point favorites in this one. Again, big spread. Both these teams 1-0. It's a divisional matchup. The Jaguars always play divisional matchups tough. Don't know what it is about these divisional games, especially in the AFC South. Normally these things are dogfights. And between these two teams, they're going to want to keep the pace of play moving, right? They're going to want to keep the clock moving. What does that mean? Less possessions for both teams. So when you sit there and talk to me about a 9-point spread, I tend to lead to the team that is getting the 9 points, and that's going to be the Jacksonville Jaguars. However, I don't think Gardner Minshew, I don't think this Jacksonville team has enough to beat the Tennessee Titans. I think Tennessee still has a lot to prove. A lot of people hating on them, even though they were in the AFC Championship game last year. Let's see if they fix some of the mistakes from Monday and get out of there with a victory. I just don't know about them covering a 9-point spread. So give me the Titans straight up. Give me Jacksonville to cover the 9-point spread. Moving on to Chicago, where the Bears play the New Jersey Giants. The Giants coming off a tough loss on Monday night to the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Bears coming off an impressive come-from-behind victory over the Detroit Lions on Sunday afternoon. Listen, I know people want to say, hey, the Bears, they look great. That offense did well again. The Lions aren't exactly the best team to show off how great your offense is after they lose some big defensive weapons during the offseason. I know in the preseason I said that the Lions were my sleeper team to win the NFC North. I already wish I could take that prediction back. You can't give up big leads in this league and expect to do damage in your division. You just can't let that happen. But going to this game, listen, I liked how the Giants looked on Monday. Even in a loss for about 2.5 quarters, I thought they played the Steelers well. In the first quarter, they had the lead against a really good Steelers team. They moved the ball pretty well in the first half against a really good defense. So I like this Giants team, and I'm going to have the Giants upsetting the Bears in this one. So again, the Bears 5.5-point favorites. So that means when I have the Giants beating the Bears straight up, I also have the Giants beating the 5.5-point spread. Now moving on to Dallas, where the Dallas Cowboys are in Jerry's world to play against the Atlanta Falcons. Both these teams losing last week, both going 0-1. Atlanta losing to the Seattle Seahawks, but they looked good at times in that game. But that's kind of been the last few seasons for the Atlanta Falcons. They look good at times, but man, they look bad at times too. Just unable to put it all together. Dan Quinn definitely on the hot seat in Atlanta. Then you move on to Dallas. Dallas losing to the LA Rams week 1. Unfortunately, everyone thought Mike McCarthy would be the answer for the Dallas Cowboys. We're looking forward to the season. The only thing that the Cowboys benefit from is a terrible division, as the only team to win last week from the NFC East was the Washington football team. And let's be honest, the only reason why they won is because the divisional team had to win a game against the Eagles and the Washington football team. That's just the way it worked out. So Washington 1-0. All the other 3 teams 0-1. So this game is in Dallas, so a lot of you will want to lean towards the Dallas Cowboys, but what if this is the beginning of what might be a downfall season for the Dallas Cowboys? Listen, with Dallas, it's never been a question of talent. They've always had a talented team. But at the same time, they just never seem to be able to put it together. Now they have a new head coach who didn't have any preseason games. Let's give him that, right? He didn't have enough time against NFL competition to show his team what his playbook really looks like. However, he's only played 1 game then. So if you continue with that process, you have to favor the guy who's been with his team the longest. And that's obviously Dan Quinn with the Atlanta Falcons. And Atlanta Falcons know how to run Dan Quinn's system. And I think that Matt Ryan, Julio Jones come out strong in this game. So give me the Atlanta Falcons to win on the road, which means give me the Atlanta Falcons to beat a 4.5-point spread. Then you move on to Green Bay, Lambeau Field, as the Detroit Lions, who go 0-1 last week after giving up a big lead against the Bears, go up against the Green Bay Packers, who absolutely whooped on the Minnesota Vikings in that game last week. I thought it was a great game by Aaron Rodgers. I thought the Green Bay Packers looked really, really good. The exact opposite can be said for the Detroit Lions. Matthew Stafford gives up a big lead, lose a game to a Chicago Bears team that I'm still not a believer in. That Mitch Trubisky still is not someone who impresses me or who I would even consider an average quarterback in the NFL. Green Bay is favored by 5.5 points in this game. Listen, I don't think this is hard at all. I think you give me the Packers, give me the points. I'll take the Packers straight up, and I'll take the Packers against the spread. Now, moving on to the team they beat last Sunday, the Minnesota Vikings, on the road to play against the Indianapolis Colts. Both these teams losing last weekend, both these teams 0-1 going into this one. The Colts 3-point favorites as they get ready to bring Minnesota into town. And I'm not going to lie, guys, I really like this Minnesota Vikings team. Now, I think this is going to be a really good game. As many of you know, I picked the Colts to win the AFC South, the Vikings to finish third in their division but still make the playoffs. So I think these are two playoff caliber teams going at it. I just think Minnesota's the better team. Minnesota showed me more last Sunday than the Indianapolis Colts did. So give me Minnesota on the road to beat the Colts, which means give me Minnesota to beat a 3-point spread. Moving on, you have the San Francisco 49ers after a tough loss against the Arizona Cardinals, going to New Jersey to play the New York Jets, coming off a really bad-looking loss against our Buffalo Bills. Listen, without Le'Veon Bell now, this Jets team continues to lose players, whether it be to injuries or the opt-out. Still no Mosley. Still, Adams isn't coming back anytime soon. So I think this Jets team is definitely in rebuild mode. I think Adam Gase will be gone probably before the end of the season. I am just not a fan of his at all. So give me San Fran to win this game, and give me San Fran to win this game big after they're going to be a little bit mad about what happened last week. So give me San Fran to win this game. They're 6.5-point favorites. Give me the 49ers to win this game, the 49ers to cover that 6.5-point spread. Moving on to Philadelphia, we have the Philadelphia Eagles coming in at 0-1, going up against the LA Rams, who just beat the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday night. I think it's going to be tough for the Rams going into Philadelphia. Again, we all know about those West to East Coast trips, and now with the new rules due to the pandemic where you have to go back home, they couldn't, stay in Dallas for a shorter time differential. They had to go back out west, and now they're going to have to come back out east for the game between the Los Angeles Rams and the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles 1-point underdogs. Give me the Eagles to win this game, which means give me the Eagles to beat that 1-point spread. They move on to the Denver Broncos at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers, an impressive win on Monday night. Broncos, unfortunately, falling short on Monday night. So both these teams only get 6 days of rest before their next game. So really no advantage there. The Steelers are 7-point favorites. I'm not sure how much I like that spread. However, Denver is definitely a different team on the road than they are at home. Play Tennessee tough at home. What can they do on the road? A lot of people had high expectations for this Denver Bronco team, but I also have high expectations for the Steeler team. Pretty sure that's the team I picked to represent the AFC in the Super Bowl. Wouldn't be surprised if that happens again. Looks really good on Monday night. Some things they can clean up. Give me the Steelers to win this game, but I do expect a fight from the Broncos. Give me the Broncos to cover a 7-point spread. But I like the Steelers to win this game. Just too much offensive firepower. And then, of course, we go on to our game. The Bills versus the Dolphins. Let's squish the fish. Let's start 2-0 both in the regular season and in our division. Would be a great way to start off if the Bills can go 2-0 here. Listen, the Bills, very impressive in their win on Sunday. A few mistakes here and there, which could have made the score a little more out of the reach for the New York Jets. And this Dolphins team is definitely better, in my opinion, than the Jets. Even playing the Patriots pretty tough, only losing by 10 or 11 in that game. I think they could have maybe made some noise if Fitzpatrick didn't throw 3 interceptions in that one. And I think there was rumblings of a pass interference call missed towards the end of that game as well. So Miami gets off to a slow start, but they are at home. The Bills get off to a hot start, traveling to Miami. Listen, division games, again, always tough. Bills 6-point favorites again. They were 6-point favorites against the Jets and covered. I would love to see the Bills win this game, win their first road game, win their second division game. Give me the Buffalo Bills to win this one. Josh Allen still feels like he has something to prove, so he's not going to settle down, right? Even though he finished started 7 for 7 in the game last week, finished 72% completion percentage. People still knock him, and you know what? I say keep knocking them so we can keep proving you wrong, including this week when they go up against the Dolphins and they beat them and they cover a 6-point spread. Moving on to the 4 o'clock games. Your first 4 o'clock game is the Arizona Cardinals playing at home against the Washington football team. Washington comes back against the Philadelphia Eagles, kind of shocks the world in that one as well after the Eagles got out to a 17-0 lead. And then the Arizona Cardinals beating the NFC representative of the Super Bowl last season, the San Francisco 49ers, in a close game in San Fran. First game in Arizona this season. I like the Cardinals to win this game, but again, 7 points seems like a lot. And so I'm going to take the Washington football team. Could definitely see this game going either way when it comes to the spread, but give me the Cardinals to definitely win this one. Then you can move on. These are our 4 o'clock games. Now you have the Ravens at the Texans. Texans coming off a tough loss last week to the Kansas City Chiefs. Playing on Thursday night, they will get that little bit extra rest. Going against the Baltimore Ravens team who has to travel to Houston after a really impressive victory against the Cleveland Browns. Listen, this Baltimore team still feels like they have a lot to prove, right? Going out after one game in the past 2 seasons in the playoffs, they're feeling a little disrespected. They want to get back there. Not only do they want to get back there, they want to have that #1 overall seed. So you're going to see them playing a lot harder in these first few games than you might see them playing middle, late of the season. So I like the Baltimore Ravens. I like Lamar Jackson. I mean, obviously, you like Deshaun Jackson, possibly what this Houston Texans team can do. I just don't see him doing it this week. So give me the Baltimore Ravens to beat the Houston Texans and give me the Baltimore Ravens to cover a 6.5-point spread. Moving on to Los Angeles, playing against the Los Angeles Chargers is the Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs coming off that win last Thursday, celebrating their Super Bowl win last year. Getting their Super Bowl rings was a great ceremony, I'm sure, for everyone who played in Kansas City to get those rings. Now they go up against the Los Angeles Chargers after 10 days of rest, 9-point favorites. Listen, these division games a little bit different, right? Last week go up against the Texans, a team that's completely different compared to last year as far as staff and as far as personnel on the field. So you could expect a little rustiness from Houston. This LA Chargers team, you have Tyrod Taylor behind the helm, not only not turning the ball over, but not scoring at a high clip either. Remember, the Chargers just had issue with the Cincinnati Bengals, escaping with a victory, but not an easy one to say the least. This Kansas City Chiefs team is going to be a lot tougher than the Bengals. Give me the Chiefs to win this game, but again, these division games, always a bit tricky to call. A 9-point spread, that's a lot of points. Give me the Chargers to cover the points, but give me the Chiefs to win the game. They move on to a game that Bills fans should definitely be interested in on Sunday night as the New England Patriots go up against the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle. Seattle 4-point favorites in this game. And I think as Bills fans, we would love to see the Patriots get demolished in this game, right? We would love to see Cam Newton and the New England Patriots just not have anything for a really good Seattle Seahawks team. Seattle beating Atlanta last week, and they made it look a little easier than I thought they would last week for sure. The New England Patriots coming off a win against an inferior Dolphins team, but a Dolphins team on the rise nonetheless, right? Cam Newton, no passing touchdowns last week, did have 2 rushing touchdowns, but can he do that against this Seattle team? And the truth is, I don't think he can. I think that teams are going to force Cam Newton to try to beat him with his arm, and we have to wait and see if we have 2016 Cam Newton or if we have 2019 Cam Newton. What's his arm like right now after it's been through all those injuries, after he's been through all this rehab? What can his arm do? Listen, there aren't too many weapons there in New England. You got Edelman and a bunch of other dudes right now. Not too much going on for the Patriots. Give me the Seahawks to win this game at home, first home game of the year, and give me the Seahawks to cover a 4-point spread. Moving on to Monday Night Football. This Monday night, you go back to only one Monday Night Football game, as you have the Las Vegas Raiders, I should say, staying at home, playing against the New Orleans Saints. We obviously have Vegas in 2 weeks, so you might want to watch this matchup to see what Vegas can do. Vegas, of course, or the Saints, I should say, beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, not even making it much of a competition, as the Saints have just been together for too long. The Raiders do get a victory with 3 rushing touchdowns from Jacobs, the running back. A really tough game against the Panthers, but the Las Vegas Raiders come away with a victory. So this game might be closer than some experts think. They have a 6-point spread. They have the Saints favored by 6, again, after a big win by the Saints over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now the Saints are traveling to Las Vegas to play the Las Vegas Raiders, and so give me the Saints to win this game. Give me the Raiders to cover that 6-point spread. I just think that they're going to come out on fire, maybe score some early, get up early, but you see the Saints chipping away at that lead and eventually winning the game. So straight up, give me the Browns, Buccaneers, Titans, Giants, Falcons, Packers, Vikings, 49ers, Eagles, Steelers, Bills, Cardinals, Ravens, Chiefs, Seahawks, and Saints. Against the spread, give me the Bengals, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Jaguars, Giants, Falcons, Packers, Vikings, 49ers, Eagles, Broncos, Bills, that football team, Ravens, Chargers, Seahawks, and Raiders. Again, guys, thank you for joining me for this edition of Billievers Talk. For a survivor pool, I would have to go with the 49ers over the New York, New Jersey Jets. That's who I'm picking. Let me know who you're picking in the comment section. Again, thank you so much for joining me on this edition of Billievers Talk. We picked every single week to match up both straight up and against the spread. Again, if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button, share this video, let others decide if my picks are going to be correct or if they have some other picks. Again, leave your picks in the comment section. I look forward to talking to you all soon. Until I do, go Bills.